Hi Flosstube, I'm Annie and I am the Proper Stitcher and welcome to episode 119. If this is your first time joining me, I am so glad you stopped by today. This is a channel where I like to talk about cross stitch and hopefully give you inspiration to fully finish your projects. And if you're returning, thank you so much for your continued support. I appreciate each and every one of you. This is a very special and exciting episode. I cannot wait to share with you my new releases for the Nashville Needlework Market. So I'm sure by now you have heard all of the buzz, seen all the sneak peeks from all these different designers with all of their new releases coming out for Needlework Market. That is coming up the first weekend in March, and it is a wholesale market open to retail stores, whether they're online or brick and mortar. And so you'll see a lot of pre-orders going on. You'll see a lot of sneak peeks and a lot of releases going on. So it's probably a good idea to keep some pen and paper nearby over the next few weeks. So let me go over a few things, but first I would really like to thank Yarn Tree and Needlework Retailer for hosting this event every year. It is a big event, a lot is involved, a lot of preparation going into it, and they do a phenomenal job, and I am so thankful to be a part of it this year. So I would really like to just give them a big thank you. So what I'm going to do in this episode is share with you 8 new releases. 6 of them are original designs, 1 is a reproduction sampler, and 1 is a reimagined sampler. So I've learned a lot over the last few months of designing. I have new bags that my patterns will go in. I have a new pattern cover and a new template that I think will be smooth and just more improved. So I'm excited to share those with you too. I'll give you those details with each release. But I'm just so excited to bring these to you. A lot has gone into this. I'm just so excited, and I hope that you're excited to see them as well. What we're going to do is go over each release. At the end of the video, we'll cover all those housekeeping kind of things, like how you place your order with your shops and things like that. So like I always say, grab a pen and paper, grab your favorite beverage, and grab your cross stitching, and let's get started. The pattern to share with you is titled Always and Always. And it is inspired by Claude Monet, which is one of my favorite artists. He is known for a quote that he has said that is, "I must have flowers always and always. The light constantly changes and that alters the atmosphere and beauty of things every minute." So my first one to share with you is titled Always and Always, and it reads, "I must have flowers always and always." I'm going to come back just a little bit, just the color, because it's really hard to get the color just right in here. But it says at the top, "I must have flowers," and at the bottom, "always and always." And I included a C and an M here for Claude Monet. I have also included in this pattern an alphabet chart so that if you would like to change the initials, you can do that. But this is a fun and a quick stitch. I used All Week's Dye Works floss in this pattern, and this is a basket where I can just envision Monet going to his garden and picking his beautiful flowers, and I just think that it has all of the beauty of spring and just such a sweet design. I would love to thank my friend Daphne for model stitching this for me, and for Jan Calvert for mounting it on the board for me. She mounted it on the outer board, and then I finished it on this board. But let's go over the details of Always and Always. So this design is, here's your cover. Here's the cover of your pattern. And I just love this piece so much. So the stitch count is 89 by 90. All the colors that were used are Weeks Dye Works. And just like with all of my designs, there is a very careful and thoughtful DMC color conversion. Of course, you don't get the same effect with the over-dyed floss, but the colors are so beautiful in DMC as well. I'm not going to list all the colors. That will be on social media and on my blog whenever I post those, that I'll list all those details. But all the colors used were Weeks Dye Works. I used 2 strands of floss over 2 linen threads, and it is stitched on 32 count Mint Matcha by Grace Notes fabric. So let's look at this one more time. So on 32 count, this is about 6 1/4 by 6 1/4 inches. It can be finished in so many different ways. You can frame it, you can make it into a pillow, you can make it into a flat fold, whatever you want. But I just love all of these colors. I think it just speaks so much about spring and about flowers and about all the happiness that goes along with those. So Always and Always is one of my favorites that I've ever designed and one that I've ever stitched. I got the inspiration for this piece from Matthew. As you know, I've mentioned before that he is a very talented writer and just uses his talents with either writing lyrics for songs or for poetry. And this came from him. And what I'm going to do is share it with you, and then we'll talk about all the details. But it's titled The Dance. And here it is. It says, "A forest full of stars that hang upon the limbs of magic flowing willows dancing in the wind." And this one was just, it has so many wonderful, wonderful things in it. Of course, the willow tree is beautiful. One of my favorites, with little dots of purple going down all of the branches and all of the leaves. We have a beescape here with bees. It just reminds me of a twilight, dusk time going into the spring and summer, where it's just starting to get a little bit dark outside, but yet you're still outside and, you know, enjoying a summer evening. Of course, blue is my favorite, so we have a blue house and all the different color stars and moons in the background. And then that follows down here with the words. This is one of those, and then I really wanted to have some texture to the grass, so we have some designs within the grass. But I really wanted a piece that could be out year-round, but it's also one that just screams spring and summer. It's just one of my favorite pieces. I used various shades of Classic Colorworks, DMC, and Weeks Dye Works on this. So we'll go over all the details in just a moment. But I want to give you one more chance. I'm trying to not go too close because it changes colors, but this is true of the colors. And this is one that if you wanted to just stitch the top, you easily could do that and just have the top part, but the bottom is just so fun and so quick to stitch. So let's go over the details of the dance. So here's your pattern cover. And here are all of the details of it. The stitch count is 139 by 162, combination of Weeks Dye Works, Classic Colorworks, and DMC. There is a DMC conversion chart provided. 1 strand of floss over 2 linen threads, and the fabric that I used is 36 count Baklava by Grace Notes fabric. And thank you to Ramona at Bennett in Knoxville for framing this piece for me. So I'm going to come in one more time, let you take a look of the dance. And the letters were so much fun to chart. And I really wanted to emphasize the A and the W for Willow. So, the dance. My fourth design is a reimagined sampler. It is titled The Promise of Spring. And the original was stitched by a girl named Sarah White in 1800. And it is a beautiful original sampler, and I will show that to you, or antique sampler. I'll show that to you first. But there are a lot of pieces within the sampler that I felt would not translate well to modern day or to linen. And so here's the original. I loved the sampler. I loved the colors used within the sampler, lots of purples, lots of golds, and spring colors. But I just wanted to see something a little different for our spring sampler. But down here you will see the two mirror images of the birds and the dogs, this beautiful bouquet of flowers, butterflies, the basket of flowers, and we have this great beautiful border. That is actually one of my favorite parts about the whole sampler is this border. Let me come down here so you can see that border. So I wanted to reimagine Sarah White to a different sampler for us. So this is the Promise of Spring. And I am so excited about this sampler because it is stitched all in DMC floss. There are no specialty stitches in this entire piece. And it is such a fun sampler. Beautiful, very simple. I'm going to hold it here because as I get closer, the light wants to change it to a gold yellow because of the gold of the frame. But it's not gold. All the colors are pinks and greens and blues, all those beautiful spring colors. And it was really important to me to design a pattern or a sampler that uses all DMC because I do think that DMC is a beautiful floss choice, especially for those areas who you can't get fancy flosses or you just want to be conscious of your budget for your samplers. But this was so much fun to design, so much fun to rechart. I kept the border the same, except I just changed the size of it. So it's the same exact motifs around the entire border. We have the same mirror images of the birds. I just changed the colors because the yellow and the gold were just not going to show up the way I'd wanted them to. So we have the blue birds, we have our dogs, and this beautiful bouquet of flowers. And then it was really important, I really wanted to keep those butterflies. And then we have the bouquet of flowers. And I added the Promise of Spring because there's something about spring. We know it's rebirth, regrowth, just a renewal of everything through nature and through our lives. And there's just always the promise of something new around the corner in a new springtime. And I just really wanted to incorporate that in this sampler. I do have my initial here. There is a full alphabet chart with the pattern so you can put any initials throughout the entire design. Plenty of space for you to add several initials throughout here. So let's go over the details of the Promise of Spring. Here's your pattern cover. And this is a good size pattern. So it's nice and big. And I wanted to make sure on all of my patterns that they're all color copies, and they're all large print so you can see very easily. But this is the Promise of Spring, a reimagined sampler. The stitch count is 195 by 193. I list all the DMC colors. I will make sure to have those available for you to see on social media and on my blog. 1 strand of floss over 2 linen threads. The fabric that was used is Heirloom by Needle Bling Designs, 40 count Heirloom by Needle Bling Designs. It's a beautiful fabric. And a very special thank you to Michelle Stoner, who was the model stitcher for this design. She is a beautiful stitcher. Thank you so much, Michelle. And to Ramona Bishop at Bennett in Knoxville for her beautiful framing. So again, the Promise of Spring, a little bit larger sampler, but a very simple sampler, no specialty stitches, and all DMC floss. So the Promise of Spring. My 5th design that I am releasing is titled Strength and Dignity. And I got the inspiration for this pattern from my daughter Gray. We were having a phone conversation and she was telling me about a Bible study that she had recently attended. And it just started this vision for me for this pattern. It's based off of Proverbs 31:25, and I want to read just a portion of that to you. And it says, "She is clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come." And this one, I just really thought that it would be a beautiful design for a friend, for a sister, a Mother's Day, an aunt, just so many endless possibilities for this one. So this is Strength and Dignity. And I love everything about this. I love the fabric. I love the way it feels in my hand. I loved designing it. I loved stitching it. These are dogwoods coming through the side. I just had this vision of the dogwood tree. Dogwoods are very big around here in Knoxville. And so it was really something I wanted to incorporate in this design. Lots of pinks, lots of green, and the fabric is a very, very tint of blue. We'll go over all those details in just a second. But she is clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come. And I backstitched Proverbs 31:25 at the bottom, but it can easily be left off if that is something you would like to do. But I wanted to include it, just a little bit of it. This was beautifully finished by my friend Jan Calvert, and she did a wonderful job making this into a pillow. I really wanted this to be finished into a big pillow, but it would look beautiful framed or on a board. The chenille trim is from Lady Creates, and I believe this one is Ballerina. It is Ballerina. So let's go over all the details, but first let me let you look at it. Every time I go in too close, it changes the color. But this was so much fun. So let's go over the details. The stitch count is 118 by 89. All the colors that are used are Weeks Dye Works. I will list all of those on my social media. And there is a DMC conversion provided in the pattern. 1 strand of floss over 2 linen threads. And the fabric that was used is 36 count Lightning by Needle Bling Designs. And that is just a very, very subtle blue. And again, thank you, Jan, for your beautiful finishing. And thank you to Lady Creates for the beautiful trim and to Needle Bling for the fabric. Strength and Dignity. And I hope y'all love it just as much as I do. Strength and Dignity. Here is your cover of your pattern. So there's the pattern. Strength and Dignity release is a reproduction sampler, and it's one that caught my eye through a French antique dealer that I found online, and it's one that just really caught my attention because of the fabric that it is stitched on, and it is so much fun, and it's such a tiny little piece. But this is called Flavy La Tournelle. But the title of the pattern is Flavy 1866, and I'll show you the pattern in just a second, the cover. But this was stitched on what looks like a plaid fabric, and it's very, very rough in texture. It almost feels like it was just used often. It just seems like it was used daily. It had utilitarian purposes to it. But I loved the simplicity of it. It reminds me a lot of my Zeresh Andrews, and I just really enjoy little simple samplers like this, especially one that is so unique that it was stitched on some fabric like this with the plaid. So I have been dying to use the Weeks Dye Works gingham khaki fabric, and this was the perfect design for it. So here it is. This is Flavy 1866. Here's the pattern cover so you can know how to spell it. Flavie 1866. And here's the design. This is, I'll go over all the details, but it is stitched on 28 count. Weeks Dye Works light khaki gingham. And 2 skeins of the Aztec red, Weeks Dye Works Aztec red. So I'm going to come in and let you take a closer look. Of course, you can change the name, but it says Flavie Letronelle. I do not speak French, but I believe that's how you pronounce her name. NA, which is year, 1866. And you can change the color if you want to stitch it in any other color, but I just love the red. It was just so much fun. So let's go over all the details of Flavy 1866. And again, here is the cover. So Flavy 1866 is, the stitch count is 97 by 127. The floss that was used is Weeks Dye Works Aztec Red. 2 skeins is probably needed. 2 strands of floss over 2 linen threads. And it was stitched on 28 count light khaki gingham by Weeks Dye Works. Thank you to my model stitcher, Amy Raffa. She devoted so much time and energy into stitching that for me. Thank you so much. And to Ramona at Bennett in Knoxville for framing. And I just love this piece. It's so simple. It's a very quick stitch. It would make a great gift or something if you just want to fill a space within, you know, a kitchen or your bedroom or anywhere like that. It's super quick. Obviously, you can stitch it on any stitch count or any fabric you choose, but I just love this gingham fabric by Weeks Dye Works. So that is Flavy 1866. 7th release is titled Ellies Garden. And, you know, I like to have a little girl stitched in one of my patterns, a small, quick stitch. I had Esmeralda's Blackbirds at Halloween. I had Holly's Helpers at Christmas. And this time I have Ellies Garden. So here's Ellie. And Ellie was so much fun to stitch. She is in her garden. And she has a swing on her, in her tree. She has a beautiful dove flying in. And she just has beautiful garden scenery. And I'll go over all the details about Ellie in just a moment. But just all my favorite things. Flowers, blue, spring colors. So many sweet, sweet little designs and such a quick stitch. So let's go over all the details about Ellie. Ellie was also finished on a white paddle board from Homestead Needlework by April Taylor, a white board. And she was mounted and laced on the finishing board by Jan Calvert. Thank you, Jan. And then it came to me and I finished it on the board. So this is Ellie's Garden, and let's go over all those details. Here's your pattern cover. Ellie's Garden. And the stitch count for Ellie's Garden is 94 by 80. Weeks Dye Works, Classic Color Works, and DMC were used in this pattern. And there is a DMC color conversion provided. 2 strands of floss over 2 linen threads. The fabric that was used is 32 count Mojito Smoothie by Grace Notes. And that is such a beautiful color fabric. It has just a small tint of blue. Mojito Smoothie. Thank you to Mickey Dupree for model stitching for me. Her attention to detail was just beautiful. And to Jan Calvert for lacing this on the board for me. And then April Taylor of Homestead Needlework for the paddle or for the board. So here is Ellie's Garden one more time. And I just love those flowers in the tree, the blues, the baskets, the basket she's holding with all the flowers. And then the little swing. It's hard to see with the lighting, but there's a swing here with a vine hanging down. So quick and so simple. So Ellie's Garden. And my 8th release is a St. Patrick's Day release. I am so excited about this one. It is just adorable. This is titled Lucky You, E-W-E, Lucky You. And again, another little girl in a sweet, quick design. This is a very small, very quick, but we have a sweet little Irish girl here with her pigtails. And her ewe, her sheep with his St. Patrick's Day hat on, and all of the 4-leaf clovers that you can think of. They even are sprinkled throughout the sky or above. We've got some cute flowers down here. And she's pulling him on a leash like she's walking her dog. So this is Lucky You. And I'm going to go over all of the details for this. I pulled the clover from the basket to make this covered button. And the board is from April Taylor with Homestead Needlework. She has an Etsy shop. I will link it below. And the fabric used behind here is Priscilla's Pretty Plaids in black and white. And then we have rickrack sandwiched between the two pieces in vintage from Lady Dot Creates. So let me come in, let you take a look at, gotta come right here so you can see the color. So you can see Lucky You. So let's go over all the details. You can also, if you would like, I just got these pins in from Teresa with Jersey Girl Stitch Company. These would be so cute stuck in the board, but these are her St. Patrick's Day pins. I will link that below as well, Jersey Girl Stitch Company. So here's your pattern cover, Lucky You. And here are all the details. The stitch count for Lucky You is 69 by 69. Weeks Dye Works floss was used and some DMC. So there's also a DMC conversion provided. 2 strands of floss over 2 linen threads. The fabric that I used is 32 count Pistachio Frappe by Grace Notes Fabrics. The finishing material is the wooden board is from Homestead Needlework. Her shop is on Etsy. The rickrack, as I mentioned, is Lady Dot Creates in vintage. And the fabric is Priscilla's Pretty Plaids. And then I made a covered bow and found this ribbon at Hobby Lobby. It's just a green wired edged ribbon. And so this is Lucky You. And she's the last of all of my spring releases. So we're going to take a quick break and then we're going to go into all the details on how you place an order with your shop. I forgot to mention is the Promise of Spring, this pattern, the Promise of Spring is my market exclusive. So how that works is this is only available at market for 6 weeks. So, excuse me. It's only available at market. It will not be available again to shops until 6 weeks after market. So if this is a pattern that you are interested in, or if you'd like to have it, that is the only time it's available is at market for 6 weeks. After that, then it will be available for shops to order directly through me. So this will be my Nashville Market exclusive. So I hope you enjoyed seeing all of my new releases for market. I had so much fun creating everything. It was just, some of the pieces proved to be a little bit of a challenge for me to design, but I just really wanted to give you all a variety. I wanted you to have some small things, some larger things, some samplers, some holiday type things. And so it was so much fun to create all of these for you. I would love to know which one was your favorite. Just let me know below, the comments below. So as I promised, we will go over talking about how to make, to place your pre-order. Every shop has a different system. You know, you find your favorite needlework store, whether it's online or a brick and mortar, and you place an order with them. So simply just contact them and let them know what your order is from my designs. They will then tell you how they place their orders. So how this works is, just like with all of my new releases, I really want to give shops the opportunity to sell the patterns in their store first and foremost. So my new releases will not be available on my Etsy shop until 6 weeks after market. So that gives the shops the opportunity to order directly through me, to sell my patterns in their store, and then after that 6-week mark, I will then put them in my Etsy store. So go ahead and contact your favorite brick and mortar or online store and tell them what you would like to order. And I am taking orders all the way up until the day before I leave for market. I'm leaving for market on Thursday, February 29th. So market begins on Friday, March the 1st. So they have all the way up until the 28th to place an order with me. I will also take extra patterns with me so that they can, if they did not place an order with me, I will have patterns available in my actual shop. So I am going to send all the stores a newsletter today, giving them all the details of all of my new releases with all of those tiny little details from stitch count to floss shoes to all those types of things. But they will have all that information today. And then I will start making posts on social media so you can get some up close photos and see some up close photos of each of these designs. I will also make a blog post, so you will have many different opportunities and places to go and get a little bit more information about all 8 of my releases. So I hope you have enjoyed this episode. I hope that you see something that you like, and I look forward to coming to you all again before I leave for market. We will have one more video before I leave for market on the 29th. So thank you so much and have a great day.